Hi everyone, this is Mindy and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm excited to be participating in the Pretty Pink Posh blog hop. They are turning 9 this month, so we have lots of great birthday card inspiration to share with you today. I'm going to be creating kind of this monochromatic card. This is actually going to be for my daughter because her birthday is this week. The supplies I chose is the Fancy Cake die. I also have the layering birthday cake stencil, and then I'm going to use that large Celebrate die. So there's a script and a shadow die with that. Now, I did want to just quickly walk through and show you the rest of the release because there are some amazing stencils in here. We have party hats, streamers, and ice cream cones. We have a balloon stamp set, the Wish stamp set. I'm actually going to use a sentiment off of there. Then we have some great birthday sentiments here with a tag die, cute little birthday critters, and there's also an addition for the mug. If you have the winter mug set, there's a little piece on there that matches that, along with some great die cut pieces. Then over on my blog, I have information about a free gift that you can receive with a purchase from Pretty Pink Posh. And this is a soon to be released. You can get it ahead of time with your purchase on the amount you spend, but it's that cute little ice cream cone set. So I'm going to start with the layered birthday cake stencil. I'm going to be using my magnetic work surface to do my ink blending. So I added some repositionable tape behind my Hammermill cardstock that I have cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm starting with the first layer of the birthday cake stencil, which is the most open area of the stencil, and it also has listed down in the bottom corner A, B, C, and D, so you know which one comes next. I'm starting with this light lilac from Gina K Designs, and I'm using a flat blending brush to apply my color. Whenever I want to apply a lot of color at once, I like to use my flat blending brushes. So I'm going to go for kind of a monochromatic look for my layered cakes. Now this is layer 2, which is going to add the tiers to our cake. And for this one, I'm going to use the medium lilac. So it's going to be just a little bit darker of a shade. As I was working through these layers, I think this is going to be a great stencil, not only for birthdays, but for anniversaries or even some wedding cards. So after I finish this second layer, remove my stencil, I'm going to bring in the third layer of the stencil, which is going to be adding the candles. So you can see there's actually a lot of customizing you can do with this stencil. I just decided to go for kind of that monochromatic look. Now for this one, I cleaned off my blending brush and I went back to that light lilac ink. And then for the fourth layer of the stencil, that's going to add your flames to your candles. And that one, I'm going to be using the dark lilac. So there's 3 different ink colors. There's light, medium, and dark lilac in this particular line. The way I came up with this color palette is I texted my daughter and I asked her what her favorite color was because I was going to make this for her birthday. And we've been talking about decorations and things like that for her bedroom. So I think she was a little nervous to give me a color thinking it had to do with her room. So it was just really funny. I'm like, just pick a color. Just pick a color. I just need a color. Didn't tell her it was for a birthday card. So after I finished doing my layers, I'm going to just use the leftover ink I have on my blending brush and also my work surface and just kind of go over that background to tone down the white a little bit. I knew I wanted to create this as a shaker card, so I didn't want the background to be too distracting. In the Fancy Cake die set, there is this frame, so I'm going to use that and I'm going to die cut it twice from some white cardstock. And then I'm using the inside piece, the negative piece that it cut, and I'm die cutting out that birthday cake. So this is all off of the Fancy Cake die set. That frame is going to create the well for my shaker. Now the cool thing with this birthday cake is that you can create different colors with it. It creates these perforated lines. So all you need to do is fold it, or you can use your scissors and really layer up your cake. So I did the base layer, or one of the layers, from white cardstock, and then my stand that the cake is going to sit on is from fog cardstock. There's also these smaller pieces to decorate the layers of your cake. I did that from purple cardstock. And then for my candle flames, I'm doing some gold glitter cardstock. So I'll be honest, I was not quite sold on that purple cardstock yet, but I am going to go ahead and attach the top portion of my cake just using some liquid glue. I kind of played around, I lined things up, I looked at it a few times, but I wasn't ready to commit to gluing that purple cardstock down yet. So I'm going to go ahead and glue down my flames that I die cut from the gold glitter cardstock. I just used a little bit of liquid glue, added it to the top, and then picked up my flames with my pick and stick tool. Now I can go ahead and, since I die cut that frame twice from white cardstock, I'm going to add some liquid glue around that frame and layer it together. The reason I did that is because I cut it out of a lightweight cardstock and I wanted to kind of just create some stability there. Then I'm going to go around that entire frame with some red line tape. I'm going to be cutting a piece of acetate that's going to fit behind my window so that it protects all of my shaker bits. I'm going to use the other end of my pick and stick tool to help peel up the backing of that red line tape because it can get pretty sticky, and then I can go ahead and add my acetate over that to create my window. Now I have these foam strips from Waffle Flower. There's a couple different thicknesses. Not really sure which one this is, but the mini strips just fit perfectly around my border. So I'm going to go ahead and piece that together. When you do this, you just want to keep in mind that you need to make sure you're butting up that foam tape right next to the next piece. You don't want any of your shaker bits to fall out when your recipient shakes the card. So I decided to go ahead and keep that purple cardstock for my layers on my cake. So I'm just taking that and adding some liquid glue on each piece and attaching that to the front of the card or front of the cake. And you can see on the cake there are some perforated lines there once again, so you know exactly where these layers are going to go. I also decided that my layered cake or my stenciled background was just looking a little too plain for me. So I'm bringing in some white ink and I'm placing that on my glass surface. I'm going to mix it with water and splatter my background, and this is where I'm going to leave in my mistake for you. Well, not necessarily mistake, but I over splattered. And instead of starting this background over, of course, because there's a lot of work into it, I took a paper towel and I tried to dab up that big splatter right in the middle. I was also really hoping that my cake would hide that. So wiped up what I could. I'm going to dry this with my heat tool and I'm just going to continue moving on. For the shaker window, the side of the foam tape can be kind of sticky, so I'm just taking an anti-static powder tool and I'm going to go around all of those edges just to make sure that my shaker bits don't stick to the sides. And for the inside of my card, I am using this clear confetti mix and also some silver stars from Pretty Pink Posh. I didn't really want to go with any color in my shaker mix. I just wanted it kind of just pretty and shiny. So I used that. Now I couldn't find those large stars on the Pretty Pink Posh website, but I did link some that are similar. Some of these sequence mixes and embellishments I have had for a long time, but really anything would work in there for your shaker mix. I removed the backing of my foam tape and then attached my stencil panel over the top. So I just lined up my bottom left corner and just pressed my hand all the way around to secure that. I do have a little bit of extra cardstock showing and I will trim that off at the very end. I really love how those silver stars look in there and that kind of crystal clear confetti type of look. I really like how that shines in the background. So now I can finish embellishing the front of my card. And to do that, I'm taking just a really thin foam tape and adding it behind my birthday cake just to give it a little bit of lift from the background. And then I can place that on the front of my card. For the sentiment, I'm using this large Celebrate. I did the scripty word part out of white cardstock, and I'm layering that together 2 times, or I die cut it out twice, and I'm layering it together with liquid glue. And then I'm going to place this on top of the shadow die that I cut from black cardstock. So then I can go ahead and attach this to the front. Now, if you're into hot foiling, there is also a Celebrate hot foil plate that would use the shadow die to die cut it out. And I will be using that in a future card project. I wanted to add just a little bit more to the front, and I decided to use this longer sentiment that's off of the Wish stamp set. But of course, I'm back to being indecisive once again. So I have white and black cardstock picked out. I'm starting with the white cardstock and just inking this up with a black ink and stamping that down. Now, it is a brand new stamp. I haven't stamped the sentiment yet. So I am going to stamp it twice to make sure I have a really good impression. And then I'm going to clean that stamp off and bring in the black cardstock. So I will prep that with an anti-static powder tool, and then I'm going to ink up that sentiment with a white pigment ink, which is one of my favorite ways to do some white heat embossing. So I'm going to stamp that down, just giving it a gentle press. You don't want to push too hard and distort your sentiment. Then I'm going to sprinkle on some white embossing powder and melt that with my heat tool. So once that has cooled off and I can wipe over it with a Swiffer cloth to remove any excess powder, I'm going to trim both of these sentiments down into a thin strip. And then what I do is I bring them over to the front of my card and I just place them there, trying to decide which one I liked better. Neither one of them are wrong, honestly. It was just which one was more appealing to me. I did like the white. I thought it popped a little bit, but I also felt that it blended in with my fog cardstock and the white border. So I decided to go with the black sentiment. Now, because it's kind of going over the base of my cake stand, I added some thin black foam squares to each end and then some liquid glue right in the middle and placed that under the word celebrate. Now at this point, I still felt like it needed just a little bit more something, and I really wanted to use glossy accents for the word celebrate, but I could not find it, and I know I just saw it the other day. So instead, I'm using the unicorn stickles, which I guess I could have probably just die cut it out of white glitter cardstock, but you do what you have available at the moment. I know I'm going to find my glossy accents after this video is done. I also added some of that stickles to the top of my cake and also that middle layer. So it's going to add just a little bit of the sparkle. And then that is going to finish off my birthday card. So considering that I really wasn't quite sure if I liked this in the beginning, I'm really happy with how it turned out and that it's a fun shaker card. So now all I need to do is write a special message in the inside of the card for my daughter to give to her on her birthday this week. All of my supplies are listed down below in the video description and over on my blog as well. And be sure to head over there and check it out because there is more inspiration using this release that you can view through the blog hub. Thanks for stopping by and see you soon.